Hey, what's up? It's the live Q&A, and we are just getting rolling here. Welcome, everyone. This is a different schedule. This is a different time, and hopefully people can hear me. Welcome, everyone. I see we have a handful of folks in the crowd already, and I hear my own voice, so that means it's working. So that's always good. We have Kari, we have Jaren, and we have Evan as well, and Duke also. So it's highly likely there's just going to be fewer people today, or there could be more. I have no idea. So thanks everyone for joining up, though. And a few people sent in some questions, which is cool. I will hit some of those, of course. Not as many announcements as normal, but I will mention, if you have questions, you can leave them as a comment. So I'm realizing I could create a little bit more work for myself, but also get more people to leave comments. So if you have a question, you're catching the replay or something, you can just leave a comment and hopefully I'll come back and get it. I haven't worked out the details on that yet, but you can also go to the bit.ly link and submit your question there. So most of the time, people that are watching this have shown up to others. So I just answer questions. If you're new, I just answer questions. So you could ask them. Usually, I don't give you too hard of a time. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I'll just answer your question. If it's the second time that I answer it today, I may give you a little bit of a hard time, but I can't blame you for not seeing the whole darn thing. So let's see, what are some other things going on? Quick announcement: in a couple weeks, I will be publishing with my good friend over at WP Eagle, Alex Cooper. He and I are working on a playlist together on the keyword golden ratio. It's kind of a masterclass. We go like really deep. It'll probably be, I think it's probably close to over an hour of content. And it's like binge watch style. So we're going to release it. I'll keep an eye out. It's going to be in 13 days. So it'll be like June 4th. And we may even do like a little kickoff live stream or two. Like he and I are talking about doing something cool, and maybe even a contest. You will have to participate and do some stuff, but a contest to, you know what? I'm not going to say what it is, but Alex and I are talking about it. I think it's going to be awesome. All right. Let's see here. Evan, thanks for shooting me the note. Really good to hear the success you're seeing. Duke is on, of course. We have Jay. Mama Needs Her Wine. What's up? Brian, Wesley, John, my man. John, I just sent you an email, John, by the way. So I spoke with John earlier today. So, John, if you want to share, like, hey, I talked to Doug, if you want to, but I talked to John earlier today. You could share, a little bit that, it was good or not good or whatever you want to do. You can mention it if you want. Of course, no details of the call. We have Allway, and we have Hiking Gear Lab, and the view on Amazon beneath the image is great. Okay, I'm not sure what that means exactly. Pete is on. Excellent. So, Pete, is this a better time of day? Just curious. I guess we're like after work hours for the East Coast, which are in New Jersey. All right, team is on. Band is on. Strat, what's up? So if it's your first time on, just let me know in the chat. Just curious. And by the way, is this a different time of day? Just good or bad, or no one cares, or what? Okay, I'm gonna hit some of the questions that were sent in, which it looks like there were a decent handful. All right, so this is cool. I didn't have time to put them all in into the description. So let me see. And by the way, if you're in the chat, feel free to type your question in there. I'm going to do my best to answer those as well, which we usually make it through them all. And I got to thank my kind moderators like Jaren and Duke, who are both success stories. So if you haven't seen their interviews, Jaren is J and K here in the chat. So Jaren, fairly new to affiliate marketing and doing super well, like really super well. I just caught up with him the other day. He's doing fantastic, and it'll be cool to catch up with Jaron sometime soon. And Duke is doing great also. Also an interview in the playlist. So I'm looking through the questions. One of them is very long. And it just looks like more of a note. So I'll have to come back to that in a second. Yen asks, how do I go about doing guest posting in terms of the links that point back to your site? Do you point it back to a best of type content or how to? And how would you expect the guest post links to be removed after some time? And would I expect them to be removed after some time? Okay, Yen, number one, how do I go about doing guest posting in terms of like where it points back to on my site? So whatever I'm trying to build links to, that's where I point the links. That is a dumb answer to a reasonable question, but I point it to wherever I'm trying to get the links to, right? So if you want links to your affiliate content, put the links there. Now, a lot of people are going to say, I am having trouble getting my links to the affiliate content, or why would people link to my affiliate content, or something along those lines. Some resistance to doing it. The resistance is very real. Number one, your content needs to be good. All right, it needs to be like well written, it needs to be engaging, and it needs to be helpful. So I would say if it's like a best ballpoint pen, one of my favorite examples, if it's best ballpoint pen, then I would highly suggest you have a post where it makes sense to link to a buying guide for ballpoint pen. So let's say it's a journaling guest post. You're talking about journaling, and then you're like, you know what? I had trouble with pens that were bleeding through the paper. So, here's a buying guide for ballpoint pens, best ballpoint pen. You could use whatever keyword or lack of a keyword or whatever anchor text you want to use in the guest post, and just do it. Do that. And then if you're trying to build links to how-to content or informational, it's a no-brainer. Just do it, right? And as far as being the links being removed, I would not expect that to happen. So the other part is, again, if you're feeling like, hey, no one's going to link to my affiliate content, then you haven't networked hard enough. So just network a little bit harder, and it should be, good to go. All right, Josh is on for the first time. Welcome, Josh. Everyone tell Josh hi. Emmanuel likes the old time better. Okay. And that's normally 10 a.m., which is my morning time, but I may mix it up a little bit, do some here and there. Mama needs her wine. What's your name, Mama? So I don't have to say the full phrase, which is funny, by the way. So this is a good time for you. So good to know. Duke says it's better for you. And you start every day at 5 a.m. Okay. And then Fat Loss Planner says, what do I recommend? Building links to an internal page or the main domain? Most of the time is spent building to content. So how do I build more links? Okay. So basically, again, this goes back to the dumb answer I gave before. Wherever you need the links to go, that's where you should build them. So I would say if you are unsure, aim for 50-50. That's reasonable. Aim for 50-50 and see how it goes. Mark says, you have a site making 200 a month with Mark, by the way, you haven't been to live streams in a while, and I haven't heard from you in a bit. But Mark, did you start from like scratch? Like I kind of remember you were struggling to make it through, and now you're at $200 a month. Is that right? Am I remembering this right? All right, your goal is to make other sites that are making $250 to $400 a month. All your posts are KGR and nothing else. Any suggestions to maintain the site? I have a different suggestion that is it's opposed to what you say you want to do. So I would say add more and do more work on the site that's making $200 a month. I think you're going to find it's going to be easier to make $1,000 a month from that one site, or $2,000 from that one site, versus like starting a whole other site it's only going to make the same as what you've done before. Unless you have some compelling reason to like move on to do something else, you're like at a point where it could explode. Talk to Duke, talk to Jaron, ask them in here. What do they think you should do? Sandra says, how many times should the keyword from the keyword golden ratio be used in a post? You heard 6 to 10 times. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Oh, WP Eagle is on. My friend Alex. Everyone say hello. Check out his channel. He and I are working on something cool for you. Okay. With a masterclass for the keyword golden ratio. 13 days. 13 days. Mark your calendars. Keep an eye out. He and I are going to talk about it a lot. And okay, Sandra, you should probably use a term that is a KGR term, like once in the title and then one other time in the article. That's it. Don't use it more than that. 6 to 10 times would only be appropriate if the post is like 10,000 words long. Okay, so 6 to 10 is way too many. Less is more. All right. Andrea. Okay, Andrea, I'll try and remember. Andrea likes wine. All right. Everyone remember that. Andrea likes wine. Cool. And Mark, you're thinking of building a portfolio of sites. Okay. Again, I think that is a bad idea. Your time is going to be more leveraged if you spend it on the site that's already established. Just depend, as long as you brand it in a general way, like you probably should be able to ramp it up to $5,000 to $10,000. I mean, per month. So, I mean, the fact is you could just spend your time and just be more efficient. Here, let's put it in simpler terms. Let's say you're going to publish 100 articles on the site that's already making $200 per month. Or you're going to publish 100 articles on, say, 5 other websites. Which do you think is going to have? Actually, we'll take a poll. Everyone say what you think. And I could tell you, I had a site that was making like about $100 a month. I published 200 articles, and then maybe it's an anomaly, but by the end of the year, right, 12 months later, I was, lucky with the retail season, but it ended up making like $14,700, something like that in 1 month. So depending, again, unless you know something I don't, I think a portfolio in your case is a bad idea because you haven't maximized what you have in front of you. Next, we have, okay, cool. I'm going to go back to some of the questions that were sent in. So the doctor sent in a question. It says, must I use a keyword in your domain? No, you don't have to. Can you use any domain name? Generally, yes. But, I would say something brandable is good to do instead. And yep. So I would say any of this person, the doctor, sent in several proposed, domain names. I don't like any of the ones that you sent over, but any of them are fine. The domain name doesn't really matter that much, so don't worry about it. Just pick something that's not like an exact match domain. Philip says, you stumbled upon an Amazon affiliate site using KGR. To your surprise, a lot of your KGR research leads to the site, often to the same article. Does Google allow this type of duplicate content? I don't know about the specifics. It sounds like it's not really duplicate content if all the stuff it's ranking for leads back to one article. I may be misunderstanding Philip, what you're saying. So you are saying that, and the second part is it is an international domain, and Philip is speculating that it could be easy to outrank with a .com domain. That I don't know. I think it depends on a lot of factors. It could be, a foreign domain could be helpful or not helpful, and there are other factors that play a bigger role. Pete says, do I tell the writers what site they're writing for, or do they only know the topic and then they send you the content? It depends. So typically the writers don't know. Occasionally, if after I've worked with a writer for a little while, they may ask, hey, where are you publishing stuff? What do you like? Can you tell me about it? And if they've, earned my trust, then yeah, I'll tell them about it. But it's totally up to you. You could tell them or not tell them, whatever you want to do. And by the way, if you are enjoying me answering questions, please hit the thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment, or if you just want to help out, I think leaving comments helps. Reply back to other people that in the comments, just have a conversation, whatever you want to do. More interaction is good. John says, if you have a keyword with less than 250 LMS and only 10 all-in titles, but when you put in the keyword without the all-in title, Google gives a first page of established sites with similar keyword mixes, would I look for another keyword to go for, or would I still go for it? I would probably go for it, but there are some things that you should look for, right? There are some keywords that are not going to work out. There are some certain special things that you could look for. And me and Alex, we're going to cover it in that playlist that's coming out in 13 days. We go so deep into it that it's advanced. So like, I think people that have not bought into the KGR yet, or they say it doesn't work, you will not be interested in the playlist. So, but if you are like, hey, I think the KGR works, and I think most people that are watching right now do think, there's enough people saying like, hey, I did it and it worked. Or someone left a comment the other day. They said, hey, I published something and it ranked in the top 20, like within a couple hours after they fetched it from the Search Console. So if you do believe it works, you will enjoy the playlist, and there are some things to watch out for. Alex did this video. I just watched it earlier today. I believe his English accent provides more of a, it's trustworthy. He sounds really well informed because of the classic British accent. So I think it brings a little more elegance to, what we're talking about. The playlist in general, I think, is better. So if Alex is still on, thanks. You're just talking normal, but we think it sounds really good. Next, John says, would I recommend removing the affiliate links from images obtained through the site Stripe? I wouldn't, because I think if you're using those, you're supposed to allow it to be an affiliate link. Now, I have tested to try and remove that link, but I don't think that is what you're supposed to do. I think you're supposed to leave those in there. All right. And then Sindana, you have a quick question. You have a site that's 7 weeks old, 17 articles or KGR. You didn't do a lot of link building. You did some Quora stuff. You did blog commenting. Today, when you visited your site, you saw the Moz bar displaying your DA is 5, and that your homepage has 22 links, which you can't find in the Search Console. And blah, blah, blah. Should you be worried? No. You should, you're doing good. You're following the methods, Sindana, and basically you don't need to look at the metrics too often. Don't worry about like the Moz bar metrics. It doesn't matter, right? It's useful for some competition analysis. However, from your perspective, it really doesn't, it's not helpful, right? It's not helpful at all. And as far as like the links and what is being reported, the Search Console is not necessarily like up to date. Moz apparently has a new database for, a new index, as it were. I haven't checked it out. It's supposed to be more thorough, but basically don't worry about it. What you're doing is right. do more of that for about, 6 more weeks, something like that. Do stuff, and then refer back to the guest posting stuff that I talked about a minute ago, and I think you'll be in great shape. So, couple quick announcements now that I made it through the minor backlog of questions. So, couple things. I step back a little bit from the YouTube publishing. Number one, just for a little bit of a break. Number two, I've been writing a little bit more, cleaning some stuff up on Niche Site Project. I've sort of revamped some stuff on the theme, just the usability. I added a search bar, which I dragged my feet on putting a search feature on there because every time I tried to find something, it's kind of a pain in the ass and it didn't work well. So I was like, I'll just worry about it later. Yada yada yada. 3 years later, I finally put a search bar on the side there. So there's a search bar. And the biggest thing is I've revamped the niche site process. Previously, it was a huge long post with a ton of information, and I had not updated it in a little while. However, right now, if you go to nichesiteproject.com, which I believe there is a link, it is the second link. If you go there and then you go to like the blog and then start here, it is now set up in a much easier to read fashion, and it's been updated. So if you're interested in like guest posting, I like rewrote the guest posting section. And what you'll find is, you go to the start here, you'll have sort of an intro, an overview of the process. And then you'll have, I think like 7 or so different like sections to navigate through. And it kind of steps you through the process. Again, it's more of an update. A lot of the structure is relatively the same, but it's been updated for 2018. It's more relevant. There's references to the keyword golden ratio and a whole guest posting section that really wasn't there before. So do have a look, and if particularly if you're just getting started, like I think Josh was is new at least to a live stream. The basic idea is it's going to be easier to find information, and I'm hoping that it'll bring more traffic eventually. But I was trying some other stuff like back when I made the super long post, and it wasn't ranking well, right? A lot of other sites with less information were ranking better, and I was like, you know what, F the SEO aspect. I'm just going to I'm going to organize it in a way that makes sense. And then that's fine. I'm just going to leave it that way. And I can maybe approach some other stuff in an more SEO, not like centric approach, I would guess is the right way to say it. Okay. So now, next, Duke is saying, you have 3 active sites, and this is in response to Mark, who is thinking about doing a portfolio. And you have 3 active sites, a couple that are badly neglected. Having a portfolio is overwhelming and too much work. Yeah. So 1 or 2 sites is probably good. And it turns out if you bring the site properly in the beginning, then you can really grow it huge, bigger than what most people need. From a monetary standpoint, even when you throw out, 40% for taxes. Fat Loss Planner says, how do you start your site? Like, do you put affiliate links on your very first month or build up an audience and then add affiliate links? It doesn't really matter. I would probably wait until you're starting to get 20 visitors a day. Before that, it doesn't really matter, but it depends on what you're trying to do exactly. Mark mentions the problem is your site is very product specific. And I think I have, I've heard of that before many times. The lighting's a little funny, so I'm just going to mess with the blinds here. Switch on my trusty light. Is anyone in the Newport, Oregon or Portland area? I'm going to be there soon. So if you see a bald man drinking beer, it could be me. Hydra says, any suggestions on citation building? No. So citations are usually more like oriented towards local sites, and I don't do much local anything. So I would say I don't know, but I know there. I would probably hire someone to do it. I would probably hire someone and just get it done. I think it's fairly mechanical. Josh says ADD and affiliate marketing is a bad combination. It seems to be pretty common though. Jordan says, "Do I change the KGR cutoff ratio as the site grows, and is it regular and is regularly ranking?" Sort of, yeah. I've developed a bit of a progressive type scale, which I am still testing, but I have a pretty good like handle on it. I believe I'll be able to share some results with my students in the coming months. It takes a long time to test this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Sakit says, "Hi, Doug. You're planning to make an Amazon affiliate niche site related to morning breakfast with KGR. Will it be a good idea? Should a beginner start with this?" I'm thinking no, because is that like about food? I don't really understand. It sounds like the setup for a joke, and I think I just fell for it if it is a joke. Um, so I'm going to say maybe not. I'm not sure what products you're going to place in that. Um, Okay, and Alex says, "I published something just over a week ago playing around with the KGR, and it's already on page one for some terms. Awesome. Very cool. And by the way, if people are just joining up, we have a celebrity in the audience, WP Eagle. He and I have been chatting recently. We're working on this really cool playlist coming out in 13 days from today. So it's June 4th when it will come out. And we're going to do something cool for the launch. I'm not sure if there's going to be like multiple live streams, but I think we're going to do something really interesting." Okay, Emmanuel says, "Why wouldn't you tell your writers where their work is being posted? Could you explain?" Well, I would tell them I wouldn't tell someone I don't trust. So if someone's a jerk, like I had a writer work for me who like at some point like lost it. He wasn't a professional writer. This was one of the first people I hired. In fact, the exchange was so ridiculous that I was like trying to find it for a blog post because it was just funny. But yeah, I would tell. I've told basically anyone that I've worked with in the last year, like they know where their stuff's going, and I was like, "Hey, like I do this stuff. This is how the model works. If you're interested, check out my YouTube channel." So, I mean, basically, I think maybe Emmanuel, I stated that wrong. So I would only not tell someone if I didn't trust them, and that kind of goes across the board. So if someone's a jerk, then I'm not going to tell them like information that is not pertinent. However, I mean, you're hiring someone for a job, and it's like very explicit, and I'm like, hey, you're not credited specifically. It's published under a pseudonym. Like there are things that I state in the like job contract. So it's like it's pretty clear. So if I don't want to tell them where it's being published, then I don't have to, or they can not work for me. So very straightforward, in my opinion. Kari says, but Emmanuel, maybe I just stated it wrong a minute ago. So Kari says, "Your site is 4 weeks old and 4 posts were published on May 8th. You're on page 2 for a lot of them, and you have 22 orders for a total of $500, and the month is not over." Cool. Awesome. Awesome. And Fat Loss Planner says, "KJR helped you rank on the second page of Google in 2 days." Awesome. Yeah. Really good to hear all this stuff. And awesome. Awesome. Thanks for the other details, Kari. Lewis says, "Is it better to optimize a page for 1 or 2 keywords for the meta title and description?" Well, um, I think it depends, Lewis. If I think you will have a better chance to optimize for one keyword if it's something more specific. However, if it's something more broad, then maybe you could optimize for 2 keywords. But if you're optimizing for 2, then unless they're very closely related, there could be some, confusion about exactly what you're trying to answer. So it really just depends on the specific keyword and maybe even the niche, if it's a product review versus informational, like all those factors. So the best thing to do in that case is to just think like, all right, what type of user would have Googled that? And like, what's the best way you can get them some information? So if you just think about the end user and all, like, get away from the SEO portion and the numbers and stuff like that, like what kind of person is searching for this and like how can you help them solve the problem? All right. Next. And Alex is heading out. See you later. Oh, you're already gone. But I'll catch you later. Paul says the beard looks good. And I forgot to say this. I published like a little productivity tip yesterday. And one of the tips is just let go of personal grooming. So I can't grow a very good beard. As you can see, it's kind of patchy. Even if I let it grow out for a while, like in the winter, but right now, just a little bit lazy and I just haven't shaved and I'm going to shave probably today. But thank you. Thank you for mentioning that, Paul. Okay. And Phallus Planner says, is it a good idea to put affiliate links on the page the very first day or wait? Every time you add affiliate links, your rankings go down. Perhaps, well, you got to have links sometimes. So I would say just make sure you're not putting too many. I think a lot of people put too many. And honestly, after I looked at some people's sites in the last like week or so, I basically was like, why do you have so many affiliate links? Like the person, if they want to check out the product, like they'll be able to get to it. You don't have to have so many links for each product. And I mean, I think it comes off a little pushy potentially if you have so many affiliate links, or even worse, if it doesn't come off pushy, you have affiliate links where people wouldn't expect them to be, or where they're not particularly helpful and people are like not clicking on them. And then that's no good either. So, and a quick note, I think I mentioned it in my video yesterday, but my wife and I are doing a podcast. It's not an affiliate marketing specifically, but it's more like working a corporate job or not working a corporate job like myself, and then just sharing ideas around like, work. It's really around work now that I think about it, work in one fashion or another. And scrolling back up. ZH says, I'm a website developer, and how can I use hosting affiliate to make money? So typically, ZH, sign up for an affiliate program, and whatever company that you sign up with, they basically have training on how you can like get people to sign up. So it sounds like maybe you're just getting started. So I would check out those free trainings from basically any hosting company. Like they have affiliates out, or an affiliate program. So hi says, you just published your first article, but you don't have the Yoast SEO plugin, and I completely screwed up my on-page SEO. Well, I would say, I don't know. I guess, what are you making your judgment on? Because the Yoast SEO plugin, well, number one, it's free, so there's no reason not to have it. And then number two, I actually don't like the SEO suggestions from Yoast SEO. Yoast has some good functionality that can be useful for certain things. The keyword density and like optimizing your on page is not one of them. So I would not pay attention to that. Okay. Oh, we have no snipper. It's your first time on. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Oh, I'll just say Sita. I think that's how you say your second name there. It's your first time joining live. Awesome. You've been watching videos for weeks now. It's been helpful for your 10-month-old site. Awesome. How's your site doing? Thanks for watching. And then we have John says, regarding the KGR, do I also look at the SEO difficulty in keyword CAG to check the competition on the keyword without all in title? Sometimes I will use that to sort, but generally, if it passes the KGR, then that's good enough for me. All right, Justin says, after offering a job to a writer, when do you send them the details about the job? Usually like right away. And Justin, if you need any further support, you know, you're you're a student, so you can send me an email at the support email. But yeah, generally, like offer the job. I may send it right away. It depends on like what I have going on. So I'll send it as soon as possible. And for example, right, what I've done before is I'll send them the offer and they have not accepted yet, right? Ideally, they would accept and then you send them the details. Sometimes, like, let's say I send it on like a Thursday afternoon, I'm taking Friday off. I want them to start. They want to start based on some chatting that they want to work over the weekend. So I may send them the offer, send them the details, assuming I'll just say, hey, I'm assuming you're going to accept this. I'm sending you the details and they'll be coming right afterwards. And then I'll send them the details just immediately after. Okay. Andrea says, and thanks for restating your name so that it will stick in my mind better. So you started posting YouTube videos that got that answered questions, and there are no follow links. Do the links get recognized on places like SEMrush? Yes, they will. They will get recognized. Maybe not on SEMrush. It's not the best backlink index. However, the best part is like you'll find them on Ahrefs. They'll probably show up on the search console after some time. But here's the thing: if you actually get traffic to your video and then traffic from the video, like through that no follow link, that is a good thing, right? If there's traffic, if it's a meaningful thing, um, Google will like that. So even though it's no follow, and that's my sort of belief on no follow links. So intrinsically, they're not going to bring like link juice to the table. However, it's funny bringing juice to the table, but they're not bringing link juice to the table. However, if you're getting traffic through it, I think that's where the value of a no follow link comes in. Think about it. If you get a link on like Huffington Post, I think those are no follow these days. I can't remember. But if you get a link on Huffington Post, nobody goes through that no follow link. Not the best link in the world. But if you start getting a lot of traffic, I think Google takes notice on that. And Mark says, Atlanta here. Evan's in Atlanta too. I'm from Atlanta. I lived in Dunwoody. I'm from Lawrenceville originally. Where in Atlanta are you guys? I guess maybe next time. I know a student of mine is also in the Atlanta, Alpharetta sort of coming area up there. Maybe next time I'm in town, we can do a meetup because, that's what people do. All right. It's raining. It's raining here. What's the temperature in Atlanta, by the way? How warm is it today? Okay, I'm getting through here. Ceta says, what suggestions do you have for raising the conversion rate within Amazon? Yours is 1.38%. You're getting 30,000 visitors per month. You tried changing products over to lower price products. So the biggest thing is getting the right traffic. So without knowing if those are like visitors that are coming through organic search via search terms that are like buyers keywords, that is going to be super helpful. Evan is mentioning promoting lower prices and charts and tables. So tables can be helpful, especially for comparisons. Per the video yesterday, Don't put too many affiliate links in your tables. 1 per product is enough. So don't put too many. And see that it's hard to say how to raise your conversion rate without knowing, a lot of things. So some people will tell you got to put buttons on there. I don't use any buttons. Other people will tell you don't use buttons. And then other people are doing great with buttons. So it's really hard to say just overall. But if you have the right traffic, then you should be in good shape, just in general. All right. Brian says you're concerned about setting up anything without knowing more about GDPR compliance. Any advice? Okay. Unless you have an email list, you probably don't need to worry about it too much. The other day, Sharon, thank you, Sharon, sent me, I think it was like terms feed or term. It's a terms generator, and you could go through and create something, for your site. I did it for Niche Site Project because that's where I have an email list. That's where it's quite important. But in general, like, you probably don't have to worry about it too much. So, and I could be a little bit wrong, but from my perspective, most of the stuff that I've heard about is mainly around, personal information and data and having the ability to update or delete it email list wise. So in general, I would say, I don't think you have to worry too much, but check with a lawyer. That's what AWeber told me, which was useless. Okay. Jaron says, did I notice Keywords Everywhere's new feature? Yes. Someone actually emailed it to me. So they have a long list of related keywords on the right-hand side. So folks, check it out. There's a video that I have if you search on my channel. Basically, Keywords Everywhere. Well, just what Jaron just said. I didn't find it, I just perused it a couple times, but I didn't find it super helpful. Fat Loss Planner says, does changing the WordPress theme affect rankings? You need to change your theme. In general, no. In general, it doesn't impact the rankings. However, I have heard of, people putting in a new theme and then, one of the meta description for the site changed and they forgot to update it. Be sure you update your header scripts. That's one thing that's easy to forget. And the next thing you know, it looks like your traffic has gone to 0 because there's no Google Analytics code, that sort of thing. So just be sure you have a look at that. Oh, and Chris says, how's the sump pump? If you could believe it, the sump pump, the third one that's been in my house in the last 3 months or so, it's been pumping constantly for 4 months. I mean, 24/7, it'll run and then it'll fill back up in 30 seconds, the sump, and then it'll pump it out. So yeah, it's pouring rain right now. But it was drier down there. How is your place, by the way? Hiking says, how useful is Quora and Discuss for promoting the site? A little bit. Sakit says, as I always say, we should use keywords a minimum number of times in the post. Will it be optimum if you use the KGR once in the title and once in the first paragraph? The post is about 1,000 words. That's a great place to start. Yeah. Evans and Marietta. Let's hit one of the new breweries when I'm over there. Okay. That sounds good. I mean, they were building so many breweries when I was heading out of town. It's crazy. Oh, it's hailing now too. Can you guys hear that hitting the window? It's really coming down. And then Sakit says, am I coming to India? Let you know. All right, I will. There's no plans to go to India or actually Atlanta at this point. I may be in Atlanta around the holiday season. I have talked about taking the full month of December off. So after working a lot last December, can you guys hear that hail? It's getting it's pea-sized right now. The wind is blowing into the window that's right there. Okay. So Evan, what's your favorite new brewery in Atlanta right now? Or actually not new, just your favorite brewery. Emmanuel, it says, if I make YouTube videos and link to your site, will it help you with Google? Yeah. Especially if there's some traffic coming through it. Chris says, in my experience, have I ever seen a page on a more authoritative site with better content, higher quality backlinks being outranked with what appears to be a lesser page? Sandbox theory excluded. Yes, I think so. Sorry, just moving the light over here. It's really gotten darker since the storm rolled in. Yeah, it did get dark in here. I mean, it went from like being pretty sunny to hail coming down. And that's the thing. It's very dramatic. I wish, hold on, I'll take a picture in a second and then show you a picture on my phone. But here in Montana, we don't get as many like thunderstorms that are like, I mean, tornadoes don't hit this side of the state at all. And they're quite rare. And back in Georgia, you guys know, in the summer, there's like thunderstorms all the time and often tornado watches, tornado warnings. So we don't get that as much here, but we end up with a decent number of hailstorms, like pretty serious hailstorms. Okay. So, and Chris, I can't think of specific examples, but I know like looking through with like mastermind group and stuff like that, definitely we will see some sites where it's like, that is garbage. Like, how is it ranking? Usually, it's like PBNs on the back end. So if, and the power doesn't go out too often here. Most of the power lines and stuff are underground. So, yeah, that turns out good. And then CETA says you've been using Jaxi, like keywords everywhere, but they have different results. Which do I think is more accurate? I don't know. I haven't used Jaxi in a really long time. Basically, just pick one tool and stick with it. And then Pete, have I finished watching Cobra Kai? Yes, we like slowed down and watched some episodes over the weekend. It was so good. I mean, I want to rewatch them again. It's such a good show. Such a good show. Okay, I'm going to try and take a picture because now you can actually see some hail. All right. I'm not sure if that'll show up really well. Can you see all the... It's not focusing super well. It looks like snow out there, but that's hail. Yep. There we go. And then you can see the sump pump hose. Insane, huh? Insane. All right. Next. And Fat Loss Planner says, your site's content are better than competitors, yet you're outranked. Guess you need to be patient. Yep. And a lot of it is patience and just like, testing something, trying again. John's out of here. See you later. Yeah. Chris says 4 months is crazy. The longest your sump pump has been going is 3 weeks. Apparently this area used to be a swamp, like this corner of the street that I'm on. So, yeah, it's been pumping like crazy. All right. Evan says Monday Night Brewing is probably your favorite to visit, but you like Scafflaw and you live really close to Variant and Gate City. Oh, you know what? And I haven't heard of the last three that you mentioned. Monday Night was getting big when I left town like 3 years ago. And yeah, I know so many others were like growing up. There were so many. Pretty crazy. Let's see. So the hail is mostly stopped. It won't turn it'll be kind of a nightmare to try and turn the camera around, so I'm not going to try and do that. Green Engineer says, how can you avoid infringing trademarks when choosing a domain name. So I'm not the best person to ask on this, but generally, check to see, just simple stuff. Check to see if the domain has been, purchased before, if there was some company of that name before. But then just Google like how to check trademarks, and then you'll be able to check those. There's, web tools to do it, and you can just look it up on your own. Ben says you started a new site and it has content for the US and Canada, or sorry, US and UK, but it's a UK data center. Okay. You've got a US Amazon account, but how do you rank in the US Google? So do you have a .com or .co.uk domain? And I would say if you have a .com, like just make sure you have a .com, and it should generally be the same. If anyone has further like information, feel free to add it in here, but basically that's it. And I mean, best case, host in the US too, but it shouldn't be like a major factor. But yeah. Brian says this live cast is like a popcorn in a movie. Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I wonder yeah, I mean, it's crazy because people are across the world watching, and it's like the same people on often, which is cool. All right. Kari says to choose a hosting based in the US, change the target location on Google, and the admin. Oh, yeah, there you go. And the admin of the WordPress site, change the city. There you go. So, Kari, I think that is a much more thorough answer than what I said. That sounds right. Zach says, do I know if having HTTP in your site map links would have problems if your HTTP redirects to HTTP? I don't know about that specifically. However, when you are migrating from HTTP to HTTPS, give yourself a little extra time. It helps if you know how to update the database. And be sure you do backups when you're doing all this stuff. So I've done a couple migrations like that. And I used managed WP to, do backups so that it was, if I messed up, I could restore it within, a minute. So expect it to be a little hard. And if you can update the database, like you're going to find mistakes like that. So you may need to, do a global replace and stuff like that. And then Zach further says, because Google hasn't been indexing your site and you've had 301 redirects on every sitemap link. Yeah, I don't know. Check with your hosting company because, yeah, I don't know. And you've only been getting 1 to 3 organic traffic visitors for weeks. Yeah, unclear on that. I have no idea. No idea at all. And okay, so cool. No other questions in the worksheet there. So couple things. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, I'd appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. And this is funny. I mentioned it in a couple of the other live streams. Someone or 2 or 3 people, they watch like every video, and they also like hit the thumbs down. I mean, any feedback is good feedback. But it's funny because they watch every single one, and there's only like 1 or 2. So, and there have been more. It's amusing. I think that's funny, but there were a couple people. They take the time to write a comment, which I appreciate, but they say, hey, you know what? Can you just keep all your videos under 10 minutes? Like, just super busy. I don't have time to watch them all. So I try and do a blend, right? It's funny when I do a blend. Let's say I publish a video like I did in the last couple weeks, say 5 minutes long. I will also get some comments, maybe some emails that say, really enjoy the video. It was a little bit short. I wish it would make longer videos. So I got to do the blend. And I think short videos are perfect for quick answers. Long videos. I mean, to do a Q&A like this with the live stuff. I mean, it's just going to be long, it's going to be long. Pete says, is there a difference between gray hat PBNs and owning multiple sites with somewhat related topics that link to each other that would have a crossover? I don't know if it matters. And I think it depends on who you're talking to. So I would think, if you're like, hey, I have a media company and I'm a website owner and I have sites that are all about beer brewing and beer blogs and beer stuff. Well, that would sound super interesting to me. And it would be a totally, reasonable thing for those to be linked together and have like an ecosystem of, links, right? But if you say have crappy content on the site and it's just for link building, then that's probably where you're falling into gray hat, where it's like just for link building. But if you had, a bunch of beer related stuff, then I mean, that makes sense to me. So is there a difference? Yeah, I would say there's a difference. Totally depends. And Brian says it's not nice to thumbs down for no reason. They may not like the way I talk or something like that. I mean, yeah, I think I just encouraged someone else to hit the thumbs down too. So we have two, but I just liked my own video, so that hopefully cancels it out. But Brian, this didn't used to happen when no one watched my videos. So the fact that someone's taking the time to tell me that they don't like what I'm doing, well, that's good too. In fact, two people did for this specific one. And the other cool thing is if it's the same person that keeps doing it, it's like they're still watching some part of the video. So it's probably not good for the viewer retention, but at least they're watching. So that's good. All right. Yeah, so I mentioned the other day, my wife and I are starting to, in earlier in this video, it all blurs together. Doing a podcast. We actually shot a couple or recorded a couple yesterday. And I think that we have a lot of work to do. I mean, I think my videos on YouTube still need a ton of work, but when you compare it to videos from 1 year ago or 18 months ago, I mean, these are much better. So I have a feeling it's going to be pretty rough around the edges. I hope a lot of you will listen to it. I know when I was, more avid podcast listener, really more when I like sat in the car and commuted for long distances back in the homeland, Atlanta. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I listened to hours and hours and hours over and over and over. I would listen to good ones multiple times. So I hope it'll be that sort of thing. All right, couple more questions here. Ben says, do importing products to your site with a Woo Zone spin from Amazon help with SEO, or is it pretty useless in how Google sees my site? So I don't know much about the Woo universe, but I'm going to say it's probably not very helpful. You want to have like rich, helpful content. So if you're just importing products to your site, it is probably not very helpful. And Duke says, if it's a real, and this is on the gray hat versus owning multiple sites. And I think Duke, we see eye to eye on a lot of things. So further, Duke says it's a real site. If it's a real site, like real traffic and you own it, it's not a gray hat PBN. It's a network. A fake site made for links, no traffic, and you own it, that's a PBN. Yeah. Zach says, just sort of troubleshooting some stuff with the sitemap. Unsure. Okay. Any other questions out there? And as we are, it looks like there's only like 20 people on right now. So I have a live stream scheduled for tomorrow at the normal time, 10 a.m. And um, then I won't be doing the Friday Q&A because that was today. And I may, however, be doing just some live streams while I'm out on my trip. So it could be, interesting to do that. It may be maybe just like I'll record some stuff on my phone and then upload it versus a live stream, which potentially could, take a little bit longer. I'm trying to unplug a little bit. And the other part is Instagram. So I will probably be doing a little bit on Instagram. So you can just look me up. It's Doug Cunnington on Instagram. And that'll be a little bit, a little bit more casual. All right. All right. And we see that the doctor is on. So, doctor, rewind the video. I answered your question. You say, do you have to use the keyword in the domain? The answer is no. But rewind it anyway. Watch this whole baby. All right. Jack says, you're from the Victoria Palace Theatre, London. You're exhausted from the show tonight. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's late there. Get some rest. Cedic says you're making 1,000 per month, but you're not English, and you are asking for 9,000. Do I think the price is low? There are too many factors for me to know with that amount of information, but I'm going to say that sounds low. Yeah. It's pretty low. All right. Okay. Zach asked one more question here. If you're getting 0 to 3 organic traffic today with 1,000 to 2,000 word post on a 3-month-old site, is something wrong with your SEO? There is something wrong, most likely. It could be bad keyword research. It could be your on-page SEO, as you're saying. Each one of those could have like a specific pocket of things that are incorrect, and you may have done something wrong with like the process, right? So I know other people that have a 3-month-old site, and they potentially, if they were doing the right steps in the right order, you should be making some money. How much? I have no idea. And Duke mentions that sites should be selling for about 30x monthly earnings. And just a quick correction, monthly profit, not just earnings, not just revenue, but the profit. So just a quick, and CEDIC, as far as a reasonable price, there's a lot of factors. So, I mean, it depends on how old the site is also, and where the traffic's coming from, and a lot of other factors. So if 90% is ClickBank and 10% is Amazon, that could be a factor as well, but I don't know. So, and Duke, yeah, 30x though. Yeah, 30x is what you're looking for an average, and it's easy. Yeah, just you got it. All right. Any other questions? Out there? Don't forget the live stream tomorrow should be really cool. What is the topic? Give me 1 second. I forget what it was, but it's a good one. All right. The topic tomorrow is 3 ways to get more traffic to your Amazon affiliate site. Does anyone on here want more traffic? Everyone does. So tune in tomorrow. It'll be really good. And Jaron says Empire Flippers has a free tool that'll give you a website value. Yeah, basically just your monthly profit times 30. That is basically what you're looking for. If your site is not that old, CEDIC, then that is probably why it's not fetching like a higher multiple. There's a number of factors too. If there are crappy links or something like that, or if the the content is not very good, that also has a sort of a plays a role. Um, all right, and then WP with Tom. Hey everyone, you finally made it onto one of these live. And Tom, okay, do you have any questions? Because unfortunately, I'm just about to leave. It's sort of dwindling. Oh, there's more people. There's 26 now. And Brian needs to master traffic. Yeah, traffic. Yeah, so definitely tune in tomorrow. It'll sort of be, I'll give you a little sneak peek, and I think I wrote some copy in the description, but um, there are things that I will tell you about from a high level that then I will point you into, the right resource so you could like dive into it. So it's not a quick, here are 3 ways that you can get a crap load of traffic in the next 30 minutes. It's not like that. It's more like, hey, do you want traffic for the long term? Let's talk about that. Okay. And Cedic says the site is in French. Okay, so that could be the issue. Curtis says, when it comes to KGR, do I focus on buyer intent, long tails only, or anything that is vaguely related to a product you could promote? So, 2 areas. I try to have like 50-50 affiliate content versus informational. So, whatever you need to do to get to that ratio, or even have more informational content, do that. So, if you need more buyers content, like do that. But if you need more informational, then look for how-to articles or how-to keywords so you can write articles. All right. And WP with Tom says, no problem. I answered your question already some other time. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions at all? Thanks to the moderators, Duke and Jaron, and if anybody else was on, appreciate it. It does help, even though has been calm for quite some time. Very few. I think there's only been 1 or 2 trolls in the last several weeks, which is cool. Curtis says, what tools do I prefer to help you find KGR terms? I like to use SEMrush, and there's a great way to filter things in SEMrush so that you can sort of like hone in on KGR, like highly likely KGR terms. So you could go to a site, they'll say they're ranking for 50,000 keywords, and you can narrow it down to, a few hundred. And that is in a video that Alex from WP Eagle and I are publishing together. We're doing a joint playlist. It's sort of a KGR masterclass. So, Curtis, be sure, keep an eye out for that. It's going to come out in like 13 days, so June the 4th. And yeah. Tom says, your only question would be, after you've created as many KGR type articles as you can with 250 or less, would you target ones that fit KGR for higher search volumes? Yes, maybe. Or the other thing you could do, from an iterative approach, right? Instead of just adding more content, you could instead improve the content that's there. So what I would suggest, maybe you do a blend of these two, Tom. Instead of aiming to add more content, which you could, right? I'm assuming you have some higher volume search terms. Maybe not. But yeah, maybe aim for a couple. But I would find it useful to find all your keywords that you're ranking in the top 10 and then add double the content for each one of those posts. That's a really good thing to do. Sita says, do I add no follow to my affiliate links? No, I usually don't worry about it. And Duke says, always do no follow for affiliate. That's what Google recommends. Yeah. And when I went back and looked, there was a time where Google couldn't distinguish the affiliate links as much. And they were like, hey, we recommend you put the no follow in for that. But basically I don't do it. I think I would have if I would have known at the very beginning, but I didn't know at the beginning. So I don't have any no follow. I don't use as many affiliate links as other people in their sites, I think, though. It is a good idea, right? All things being equal, yeah, no follow them. Marianne says, what do I think about getting backlinks from discount coupon websites? Is it, well, I don't know. It depends on the site. I would want to look to make sure they had traffic, and I would want to make sure that they had, a decent backlink profile. And if they did, then maybe it would be okay. As far as white hat, black hat, or gray, it's definitely not black hat. So black hat is illegal, right? So it's funny. I had someone argue with me on this, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could be, I could be totally wrong. The person didn't have any references. They were just arguing with me about. They were just arguing with me, and I was like, "Give me some citation for like what you're talking about." Black hat is illegal. So whatever you're describing is not illegal. But if you're, if it's white hat or gray hat, it depends on what's going on. And I don't know the details. The funny thing with the person who was arguing with me, they kept saying, it's not illegal, right? Like I shouldn't say that black hat tactics are illegal. But like by definition, it's like hacking someone's site and then like injecting your links in there, stuff like that. And like hacking someone's site, that's actually illegal, So he argued for a while, and I thought it was like an adult making reasonable points. But then, when you're on the internet and you're having a conversation with some anonymous person, sometimes you could be talking to an insane person. So I just didn't. At some point, I was like, "This is bananas." All right. Curtis says, on your site, you tend to have some articles that get tons of traffic, and then articles that get less. Is the result similar when you publish KGR articles, or do they all get similar traffic? Yeah, some do really well and some do terrible, and then a lot of them are in the middle. And Tom says, you like the strategy of doubling the posts that are already there. It's probably easier than hiring more writers. Yeah, and I think I may actually be doing something here soon where I'm just like, hey, can I get a lot more content done or added, and maybe even like hire some people locally. Evan says that's how most content will work. Some will be huge hits, some will be duds, and a lot of do average based on the volume. Very true. Doctor says, what percentage of plagiarized content is allowed for Google not to be considered as duplicate content? I have no idea. Alwyn says, what free plugin can I use for pros and cons and to create a best pick box? No clue. I don't do either one of those things. Duke is saying Elementor has the capability. Alwyn, here's what I would do. I would just do, I would say, do this. I'm writing it down. And something like this. You don't need a plugin. So just do like cons and pros, or pros and cons. Is this backwards, or is this flipped for everyone? And then H3 tags and just bullet points. No need to make it complicated. And Jaron says, you heard on the channel recently about hiring 10 college students, renting a room, and having them write 3 articles a day and building a site each day. Oh, and Evan says it was probably income school. Yeah, like the the interesting thing, I was talking to someone else she has like a service business in town, but she hired her first full-time employee, new grad. Here in Bozeman, the salaries are kind of depressed a little bit. So she was like, yeah, I hired a graduate or a new grad for, um, under 40,000 a year. And it's like full-time, like, it's pretty decent, pretty decent. So anyway, I was like, oh, well, I could probably go on Craigslist, hire a few writers, train them in person, get them to do some stuff in a short sprint of work. And yeah, that could be really, really interesting. And let's see. Okay, cool. Good. Glad that read properly. And basically, all Wayne, I would say don't worry about it. You don't need a box. Like when I was looking at a few sites over the last couple days, I saw people that, I mean, they just look like affiliate sites the way they list out the pros and the cons with those dumb boxes. And it didn't really look that good. It looked like an affiliate site to me, mainly because the information wasn't that good. So I would say, make sure your information is really good, and then that'll be better than having a pretty box around, your pros and cons. It really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. So don't waste your time on it. Okay, cool. And it looks like there is a new wave of people hopping on here. Any other questions? Any other questions out there? All right, cool. Looks like they've stopped. So we'll catch you in the morning. Thanks everybody for hopping on. And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment, just say hello. All right, see you later. Bye.